The San Diego Unified School District serves the county of San Diego. Within its district, there are 24 middle schools, 28 high schools, 18 atypical schools, and 45 charter schools. Additionally, there are 118 elementary schools. To continue to serve all these schools to the best of the district's ability, California needs a solution to its budget deficit. And because of the number of elementary schools under the San Diego Unified School District, they will be hit hard.
We're having to plan multiple budgets. So San Diego Unified is currently projecting an $120 million deficit, and that's if the governor's proposed tax extensions don't pass. If they do pass, they're hoping that their cuts would be about half of that, about $60 million instead of $120 million.
Now, how do districts receive money? Well, each district's income is based on the following. 1. The average number of students attending school during the year, also known as the average daily attendance, or the ADA. 2. The general purpose money that the district receives based on their average daily attendance. And 3. Special support from the state and the federal government, which is given in categorical aid, which is money earmarked for particular purposes. One critical piece of legislation that is limiting the amount of money that goes to schools is Proposition 13. Proposition 13 limits property tax revenue, as Bud Mehan explains.
The problem is that there's a limitation on the amount of money that the state can collect from property taxes and then reallocate to schools for the education of students. That's a structural limitation in California. And something that is a corollary of that, something that goes along with it, is that the law that put that into effect, Proposition 13, back in the 1970s, I should know the exact date, I think it was 1978, but I'm not positive. That same law put into effect, or at the same time, a change in the law was put into effect that you could not change that law unless 2/3 of the legislature voted to do so.
With the budget decreasing and the revenue not increasing, teachers are getting cut. Over 10%, as this chart from the San Diego Unified School District shows, and Bill Kowba explains.
Well, we're a real strong, people-intensive profession. It takes adults in a classroom, bus drivers, custodians, principals to deliver public education to kids. So the only way we can cut costs is to look at real hard at programs and people. And in the last few years, we've cut all the program we could cut and avoided cutting the people.
Why is elementary school important?
Well, statistically, if a child's not reading at grade level by 4th grade, they will never, ever catch up. And that's been true for a long time. So a child will essentially never learn to read if they're not reading well by 4th grade. And so we lose them right there. We lose them in 1st grade.
In English, because there's a test you have to take in 3rd grade English. That the students who scored well on the 3rd grade English test had a better chance of doing well on the high school exit exam than students who did poorly in 3rd grade English. So 3rd grade can be determine how well you're going to do in middle school and high school. So if you don't really have those skills under control by 3rd grade, Professor Betts is saying it can really limit your capabilities in middle school and high school.
So can you tell?
Our elementary school is going without a nurse, without a counselor, without a, I mean, it's just they're hurt. Everybody's hurting. You know, there's absolutely essential services, especially to children in poverty, and K through 6 that have been eliminated and don't look like they're coming back anytime soon.
Damn.
Impact it's going to have, class sizes are going to get a lot larger if these budget cuts go through. We're going to be looking at classes of about 30 kids in kindergarten, which is, I think, bigger than they've been in decades. We're going to see the serious reduction, if not outright elimination, of arts. Programs for gifted kids are going to be, they're going to exist, but they're going to be much less heavily funded than they used to be. Magnet school.
We have to raise more revenue, and the only way to do that is for politicians to have the courage to stand up and say we have to raise taxes. I mean, that's the only way that we can increase revenue. And you know, there's never been a politician that gets elected by saying let's raise taxes. And so, you know, we're at this point now. And so, you know, the tax code is so complicated. The tax system is so complicated. There are different ways of doing this. There are, you know, what the governor is currently proposing is just extending what our current tax system is. That's going to expire, right? There's 3 or 4 different tax situations that are about to expire, and he wants to extend those. So we've got to get the word out that, you know, but nobody wants to stand behind raising taxes. You know, nobody has the courage, and if they want to have a political future, it's a tough thing. And so with you know, and I've always said that's what real leadership is doing what's right, no matter how much people disagree and how much people dislike it. And so we need real leadership right now. And
What you really want to do is advocate to get rid of Proposition 13. I think that's one of the most crippling public policy activities we have in California.
Cool.
Any other questions?
My solution is kind of general, that I think we have to educate the voters about what the public good is and what each individual person has to contribute to it.
The U.S. Constitution leaves the responsibility of public K-12 education with the states. The state of California must ensure that students receive the best education possible. Education must be a priority. Elementary education is critical and must be protected so that students reach success in the future.